about what is this virtual festival
Right. Well,
for Theater UNI?
The Theater UNI Virtual Festival is our answer to not being able to present live performances. Of course, the pandemic has shifted our entire mode of working. Our virtual festival opened with a staged reading of Romeo and Juliet. And that would have been the show that we would have produced at the end of last season. We were so close. We were actually headed into technical rehearsals. And so we found out that most of the cast was still with us in the fall semester and had all the costumes. So we went forward and did a live staged reading for a small audience of about 45 people in the Storywood Theater. And then the next day we went over to Gallagher Bluedorn and set it up on their stage and rehearsed it and came back the following day and filmed the whole thing. And so it's been made available free of charge to the community, to high school students, and to alumni.
Where do they find it?
On our website, and I'll send you a link also, and I may have already done the virtual theater link,
yes.
The virtual festival link.
But the public can go on to the UNI's website, to Theater UNI, and just follow the prompts.
Absolutely.
To get to that.
Yep.
Now, what else will be coming through this festival?
So, the production of It's Greek to Me that we did in collaboration with the Department of Communication and Media is the second offering of the virtual festival, and we're making that available on the 25th of this month. The third piece is another devised work. We're finding ourselves doing a lot of devised work called Borderlands, and it's part of a collaboration that we have on campus with UNI's Cornerstone courses, which are taken by about half of the entering freshman class.
And what are the Cornerstone courses?
The Cornerstone course is a year-long experience for freshmen, and it counts for both their oral communication and their written composition requirements, but it's also embedded with how to be a successful college student, and here's lots of opportunities you can explore across the campus. Mm-hmm. And for 7 or 8 years, possibly more, we've always done a staged presentation that is based on their common read. So every year they will pick one book that they're going to focus on. And this year's book was The Devil's Highway by Luis Alberto Urrea. And it's about people trying to cross over the border from Mexico into the United States. And so the filmed product will be original student writing and presentations of original student reactions to the book and to the whole topic of immigration.
And when does that appear online?
We are filming that in the next 10 days, and so it will probably be a mid-April offering.
Will that be the final offering for the season?
We have one more.
One more, okay.
And that is Dream With Me. Dream With Me is a multifaceted multimedia process. It's a devised piece that is trying to reflect back on everything that happened in 2020. Racial inequity, the pandemic, all of our things that we've been focusing on in the news and culture. And it draws on hip-hop theater, it draws on documentary theater, it draws on interview processes, and we are making a film, essentially, that involves all of those aspects. We have turned both our theater spaces into sound stages, so we'll be capturing film components in both of our theater spaces, and that will last, the filming part of that process will last until pretty much when we leave for the semester, so May, early May, and then our goal is to have it available for distribution at the end of May, around May 26th.
Okay. And then once these things are posted on your website, are those going to be available for an extended period of time?
Definitely, yes, and especially the Romeo and Juliet, I think we'll just leave that up forever. Because every high school student in the world reads it, and we know that the high school teachers appreciate having that resource. The others, I think, it's so unlike a live performance where there's an opening date and a closing date. And so I think in each case we'll leave that availability for a few months.
Okay. And then finally, what do you think will be the lasting impact that COVID has on live theater production?
That's a great question. We've kind of perfected the approach to how do you rehearse a show over Zoom And so, so many times the beginning processes of rehearsing a show involve a lot of discussion and dialogue and reading. And sure, you can sit around a table in a space and do that, but you could also do that via Zoom. And so we're finding that, while we may grow tired of all these Zoom meetings, there are aspects of it that are really useful to us. And I also think that just in general, we're going to have a greater concern and awareness for hygiene and safety and not creating situations where, people could be threatened from a transmitted virus or anything like that. So, better approaches to how we structure our time even. And yes, this does take more time, but, by determining that a rehearsal process can have a segment here with a few people and then another segment 2 hours later with a different few people, we're, making sure that we're treating people well, respecting their time, and keeping people safe.
And I guess the other aspect of this is that the students also are learning something they might not have been able to learn in a typical year. They're learning film production and
Absolutely.
the difference between stage acting and acting on film. All these things that they might have gotten in a different class, but they're being forced to adapt to.
100% true, and I think it's opened up some eyes as to other possibilities, and one aspect of that would be voiceover work for actors, and we're actually in the process of picking our next season, and still realizing that in the fall we'll have to resort to outdoor performances, and we're going to do a radio play. And we wouldn't do a radio play if there weren't a pandemic situation, but by making that choice, we're going down a road that will open up a whole new world of approach and possibilities for students.